She's wearing a toy. I know. Wow. You're so good at that. I know. Okay, she doesn't want your toy. Don't kiss her face. Take your toy. I know. Do you have a lot to tell YouTube? Do you? You have to tell them about your birth? When you came out of my tummy? I know. I know. She's okay. She's just talking. She's telling a story. I know. Okay, I think we've got an all right setup here. My name's Sarah. If you're new here, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch one of my videos. That means a lot to me. I have had quite an eventful last 3 months since she's been born. She's gonna be 3 months actually in about a week. Let's see. You wanna say hi to YouTube really quick? Do you want to? Oh my goodness, my giant baby. Say hi. My name is Everly Rose Carter. My dog is obsessed with me. He's my brother. She is in the 99th percentile for height. She is going to be very tall like me and her dad. I am 5'11" and he is 6'2". So, you can keep kicking. So, I wanted to tell the fun story about her birth, labor and delivery. If you watch my a couple of my other videos, you know that I was hoping to have had a natural birth. I knew that there was a strong possibility I would end up with an epidural, so like that wasn't something that was it wasn't gonna like devastate me if I didn't get one. I ended up getting one, but things just didn't quite go how I imagined that they would. I really wanted to have a very peaceful experience, and just wasn't as peaceful as I had hoped that it would be. The start of labor, for about a week, I had been losing my mucus plug, a couple weeks actually. It was just kind of gradually happening, and every time it would happen, I was thinking, you know, well, maybe I'll start getting contractions. I wanted to have her so bad. Easy, buddy. I really did. I really wanted to just have you because I was very uncomfortable. It was no good. I have Meniere's disease. It's like an inner ear disorder that affects your balance and your hearing loss, all this stuff. And it was really flaring up at the end of pregnancy. I was in remission all of pregnancy except the very end. So I was just so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable. It was not fun. So I ended up having, let's see, it was 6 days before my due date. I had an, whatchamacallit? What's that called? A membrane sweep. I had a membrane sweep. And that night I had started having contractions and they were getting closer together, but then they ended up just stopping. And it was like 6 hours I was dealing with that, and then they just stopped. And so I was pretty no, it was not 6 hours. It was like closer to a full day. And they ended up just stopping and going away. So that was a Friday, and then Saturday morning my contractions just kind of like stopped, and I was pretty disappointed. And then, you know, I have been having Braxton Hicks throughout my pregnancy, so I was a little unsure when I would get those, like whether or not it was gonna happen. Monday I was very tired, didn't sleep very well. I decided to take a nap, and I'm so glad that I did, because I did end up going into labor. My contractions started, and I don't remember what time they actually started during that day, but I know I was in labor for 16 hours total, so I'm just gonna have to go back and figure that out. But they ended up starting, and then I was timing them, and they got to 5 minutes apart. I called, and the doctor, or the nurse that I talked to, she was like, well, you know, if you're wanting to have a natural birth, sometimes it's better to wait until they get closer together, until you're just like, I can't handle this anymore, like I need to go to the hospital, or you feel that pressure. And so I did decide to wait, and then my contractions started getting pretty uncomfortable, and they were closer to like 1 minute to 2 minutes apart. And at that point I was getting nervous because I was like, okay, if my contractions are that close together, does that mean that she's just gonna come out? Like, am I just gonna have her? I don't really know how this works. So I ended up going in, and that was at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I had kind of done some just like leaning on an exercise ball. I took a bath and just tried to, you know, kind of do some pain management the best I could. So I got to the hospital, and they, you know, did a cervix check on me, and I was only 3 centimeters dilated. I was about 2 on my appointment that I had when I had my cervix checked a few days before. So I was about 3 centimeters dilated, and sorry if I look so distracted. Between the baby and the dog, I'm just like, woo! I was about 3 centimeters dilated, and my water bag was bulging at that point at 3 centimeters dilated. So I was like 3 a.m. And I get into the room finally, where I'm gonna be like actually having her, and we start getting me a bath going, and they tried to poke my hand to get like the little IV insert thing in, and it's not the one that they're gonna like hook anything up to yet, but it's kind of like in case of emergency they put it there. So they put it in, and I have never for the life of me had issues with veins, but this one time it was like nobody could get it in. I don't know if it's because it was my hand and not my arm, but so one person tried, and she tried like 2 times. Then she brought another person to try. That person tried once, she couldn't do it. And at that point I had like gotten in the bath in the room that I was going to be delivering in. I was like laboring in the tub, hoping that it would help me with pain management. So I'm laboring in the tub, I'm in the nude, and they're like, you know, we're gonna have to bring up some people to try and help us with this needle. So then another guy comes in, I'm like having contractions. These 2 dudes are like in, and they're draping towels, not the guys, but the nurses are draping towels over me before they come in. And so I'm like in the tub with my arm out, and they're trying to get the needle in my hand, and finally one of them gets it in my hand, but I was just poked a lot of times. So that was not the most fun to be dealing with while I was having contractions, and in the tub it was just not good. He was like, you know, for what it's worth, this is my first time having to poke someone while they're in the tub. And I was like, that's nice. Like, I don't know. And so I ended up just getting out of the tub. It stopped helping. I know you're telling stories too. It did stop helping, and I got out. I tried, like, I started to lay back in bed, and immediately I was like, no, being on your back while you're having contractions is not fun. What do you have in your mouth? You have a dog hair in your mouth. Coda, you're getting your hairs everywhere. Okay, you gotta get back. Gotta get back. I'm sorry, but you have to get back. Back. I know, and you want to sit up. This is mom life, guys. Yeah. Ready? Oh. You want to sit up? What is that? What is all that over there? Do you want to play with your toys? So, as I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, laboring on your back, not fun. Not a good idea. So I got up, was like squatting against bed, trying to, you know, just trying to find some comfortable position. And at that point it was 8 hours in. So, cause I got my epidural 8 hours into labor. And I was 5 centimeters dilated, and they were comfortable with that to give me an epidural. So I started getting the epidural. The woman who gave me the epidural wasn't really the friendliest. She seemed irritated with me. She was asking me like questions that I was really struggling to answer because of how much pain I was in. And it seemed to kind of like peeve her a little bit. So that was kind of a bummer, but I got through the epidural. And once I had that in, it was nice. I mean, I tried a different medication before the epidural to see if it helped, but it made me really drowsy, and I did not want to feel medicated when I had her. And so I just opted not for that. It wasn't even really helping with pain. So the epidural was good. I could feel my contractions through the epidural, which was nice because that's helpful for pushing. at that point, again, I said I was 5 centimeters. My waters were bulging, so still my water had not broken. And it was getting closer to like 9 a.m. and 9 a.m. is when my mom would be allowed to come. So my husband Anthony was there with me the whole time, but they said that I could have an extra support person during visiting hours. So my mom was able to come, and I was just like really hoping that she would make it, or that Everly would like stay in, you know, in time for her to be there. So closer to 9 a.m. they checked me, and I was at an 8 and my waters were still bulging, did not break. And the doctor was like, well, would you mind if I just like broke your waters so, you know, we can try and get the ball rolling a little bit. It was like 8:30 and I said yes. So I was texting my mom like, Mom, hurry up. Or I told Anthony to text my mom to hurry up because I didn't want her to just come out. I just really thought that she was just gonna come out real fast, but no, she did not. She really did not. She was born at 12 o'clock. I pushed for 2 hours and 15 minutes. After they broke the waters, the pressure was real. It was like so real, and I had that urge, like I had to poop. And you know, you just, the RN, the nurse practitioner that was helping, she was like, well, we'll do some practice pushes before the doctor gets in. So we were doing those practice pushes, and every contraction I just really had the urge to like push. And so I do this thing where like my body is under stress. I shake a lot. My whole body just kind of like, I don't know, just tremors consistently. Like I'm shivering, but I'm not, but it's like shivering very intensely. And my mom has never seen that happen, and she did show up at, oh no, here, you want to play with your toys? Oh my goodness. She did show up at 9 o'clock, and so she was there for the pushing portion. Coda has to check on her. He gets so concerned when she cries. So she was there for the pushing portion, and I was doing that shaking thing, and it was freaking her out so bad. I felt bad, but she was getting so stressed out, but I don't know, it's just like this weird thing that I do. And so anyways, we were doing the pushing. When you have not slept and you're in labor, you're in the most pain that you've ever felt, and you are having to like exert all this energy to push, it is like really hard. No kissing her face or her hands. It is really hard. So my epidural worked, it was successful, but I could feel like at first I could like even move my legs a little bit, so I still had a lot of numbness and the contractions weren't painful, but I could feel the sensation of the tightening, and then I could feel the sensation to like want to push. So that was a good thing, but because, oh honey, he just hit his head so hard, because I wanted, you're distracting me so much. Oh my gosh, you are really distracting me. Whew. Because I wanted, what did I want? What am I saying? Because I pushed for so long, towards the end, it started wearing off, and so I was gaining back sensation, and at that point, that's when I was getting really exhausted. You know, I was pushing, and the doctors were telling me like, you know, come on, Sarah, you can do it. Gotta push harder. Gotta keep going. Like, they were really trying to motivate me to keep me going, but I am such a like, my personality, I don't know. I was absorbing things like I was failing. I was just like, I'm failing. I'm not pushing hard enough. I'm not doing well. Like, I'm not getting her out of me, and her heart rate started dropping a few different times, and they had to like rotate my body to bring it back up. And at one point, like during a large portion of the time I was pushing, she was like right in that birth canal, and they were like, come on, Sarah, like, let's get her out, let's get her out, let's get her out. And then she would start going back in between contractions, and they're like, no, like, come on, she's going back in. And I'm like, no, like, don't go back in. I had cried so many times. I did all the pain sounds. Like, I watched birth videos, and I was just like, ooh, like, I hope that I don't yell. I hope I don't do this, don't do that, you know, because it just seemed like so, I don't know, that's just not what I wanted. I wanted to have one of those peaceful births that you see or hear about, and I just really wanted that, and it did not happen that way for me. It was not peaceful, but I had a healthy baby and healthy me, and that's what matters the most. And so they were really pushing me. I was so emotionally, physically exhausted. I felt defeated. I could see everything in the light above me because it was like a big flat glass light and it was off, and I could see the reflection like it was a mirror. I could see everything. And so when they were down there, she, you know, like once her head started coming out, I could see it like start to come out, and then it would just like go back in between contractions. And it got to the point where in my head it was like, I'm not strong enough to do this. Like, I'm supposed to be built to do this, and I'm not. Like, I can't get her out. It's not gonna happen. Her heart rate's gonna drop. They're gonna rush me to have C-section. Like, that's what's gonna happen. And you know, it didn't happen. It took more pushing. It took a lot of strength. I finally, once I kind of started worrying about that, I was just like, I have to get her out. And I told Anthony, where's my phone? Give me my phone. And they were all looking at me because I had been pushing for quite a while at that point. It was like the last 30 minutes or so when I asked for my phone. And I had a lot of nurses and doctors around me, and they were just kind of like all weird because I was very intense. Like, give me my phone. Where's my phone? You know, and he gave me my phone, and I had put on this Christian hypnobirthing app that I had purchased, and I just like focused on the prayers she was saying, and focused on the like affirmations, just everything, and it kind of like sparked something in me. And I like that even the doctors could kind of tell. They were like, she just found some strength, you know. And so I just kept going, and I had a lot of hard moments still after that. Like, I still cried, I still had some yelling moments, but it definitely gave me like, it refocused me. And I wish I would have been playing that app from the beginning, because that was my intention. Like, I wanted to get into that frame of mind where I was like kind of meditating through it, but I wasn't. Like, I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't think to like turn it on until the last like 30 minutes. And that's just a bummer, because I had actually spent like a lot of my pregnancy listening to that in preparation for the experience. But I did turn it on. It was really empowering for me. I'll link it below if that's something that you're interested in. But I had that on. Where am I going with this, Sarah? I'm just gonna leave all these awkward, like, goofy pauses in, because if you are a new mom, or if you've ever been a mom, like, you understand that you just can't think straight. I'm so sleep deprived still. So, yes. Anyways, I ended up being able to get her out. Finally, I got her head out, and her body came out, and I met my baby, and it was the most surreal experience of my life. When her head started to show the doctors, like, before I could even see her, they were like, wow, she has got a lot of hair. And she did come out with like full black hair. She's lost some of it, but it's coming back in. She's always had a full head of hair, but it hasn't like gotten longer. It almost seemed thicker when she was born, but yeah, she had so much hair. It was surreal to me right away. She seemed to look just like her dad. I was like, wow, you don't look anything like me. You're literally your dad's twin. But then I went and looked back at baby pictures of me and gave it a couple days, and like, she actually looks just like me with like his coloring and his hair. So it's really funny. But yeah, she was worth the wait. It was worth the pain. They do this thing after you give birth where they like push on your stomach to try and get the excess blood out of you, and I was not prepared for that. Like, it hurts really, really bad, and no one ever talks about that, and they have to come back and do it like every hour for a while. So it was a strange experience for me. I was like, why are you doing this? Like, wow, they did it the first time, and all of them just started laughing. My mom was laughing, the doctor was laughing, and she was like, I guess that's a good question. Sorry. And then explained it to me, and it was kind of funny. But she was healthy. She did have jaundice, so we had to go back to the hospital for like 3 days after she was born, which was hard. We stayed in the hospital 24 hours for birth, and then like 24 hours after that too. And yeah, it was pretty hard to be leaving. I actually had an elderly woman stop me in the elevator in the hospital and be like, you look really pale and sick. Like, she told me that. I was not looking great. And Anthony looked at me and he got really concerned and went and bought me an orange juice. It was just, I don't know, it was a moment. But she did have jaundice, and we ended up getting that taken care of. It took like 3-4 days, so it wasn't too bad. The hardest thing actually was that she had a tongue tie, and I'm so happy I knew about them right away, because breastfeeding, she immediately was cluster feeding like crazy, just refused to really be away from my boob. And I used to call her baby piranha because of how she just wanted to like latch like crazy all the time. I was really thankful that she was. I thought she was doing so good, but she actually has a really shallow latch and then that tongue tie. So after a few days, it got to the point where like my nipples were blistered and bruised, to the point where like I was squeezing my eyes shut and like sobbing when she was nursing because it hurt so bad. And finally my husband was like saying, you know, maybe we should try formula, maybe that's what we need to do. And he didn't know I had some in the house that I was gifted. And finally I was like, well, I have some. And he was like, why didn't you tell me that? Because I was so like in pain, and he doesn't like it when, you know, I'm like that, obviously. But yeah, so we ended up doing formula for 2 days. I saw a lactation consultant, and she was like, well, she does have a tongue tie, but it's very minor, so we can either just try and let it go away, or we can try and get it fixed. And I was like, no, I want to get it fixed. So that same day, we ended up going to an ENT, which happens to be my Meniere's disease doctor. And she fixed her tongue tie while we were there. It was really quick. She cried for like 3 seconds. And after that, breastfeeding wasn't painful anymore. So that was like a miracle for me. It has made all the difference. I do struggle to kind of keep up with her with my supply, so I do supplement sometimes, but we are doing the best we can, and she has been gaining weight perfectly. She is 14 pounds 7 ounces right now, and she is not even 3 months old yet, so she's a big girl. Quite tall too, 25 inches. A lot has gone on in all this time. I feel like I can't really share her whole story without sharing this part, even though it's not quite a part of like her birth story, but I want to talk about it anyways. It's just hard. My dad passed away when she was like 5 days from being a month old. He actually committed suicide. He didn't have a chance to meet her, so that was pretty tough for me. That has, just in general, you know, like I had her and I had the baby blues for the first like few weeks, and then just when I started feeling normal again, my dad died. And that, I can't even really put into words how that's affected me. I just can't. That has been like the biggest devastation of my entire life. So I have been trying to heal and grieve and be the best I can be for her. If you've followed my journey, you know that I struggled with infertility, and I really had these moments of like, why now? Why, after all this waiting, I have a baby and this horrible thing happens and just like steals my joy in so many ways. Like, I spent so much of my maternity leave just being so sad. And I just realized that like she is my absolute light. I don't know how I would have gotten through this without her to be my motivation every single day. Like, she makes me feel joy when it feels like it's impossible for me to be joyful. So that's just what it's been like for me lately. It's been pretty it's been hard, but I am trying my best to keep pushing every day. I am going to start seeing a counselor to just kind of work through everything that's happened. And you know, for now, I'm just enjoying being her mom. And the last few weeks have kind of started to feel more like myself again. And then I kind of had to face going back to work. The week prior to me going back to work, it just like hit me. I have been like so consumed with so many other things, and then it just hit me. And literally 3 days before I was supposed to go back, I called and I quit. Bless you. I felt awful for doing that because I actually really liked my job, but I started getting anxiety so bad that I was making myself physically sick, and I was just like, I can't do this again. Like, I can't like go from baby blues to feeling okay, and then like grieving my dad, and then not, you know, like I'm still grieving my dad. It's like horrible pain, but you also start to get this like sense of normalcy and like okayness that you do experience. And I just wanted that back, and the thought of me going to work, it was taking it all, and I just couldn't handle it. So I'm home. I'm officially right now a stay-at-home mom. I would love to find a way to be a work-from-home mom, but we will see. I have some things that I'm hoping work out, but we'll see. I just, right now, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I am loving it. It is giving me a lot of peace, and I just wish I had realized a lot sooner that that's what I needed to do, but it is what it is, and I am loving life with this sweet baby girl, and I am looking forward to sharing with you more of our life together, more happy things. And you know, I do want to touch on suicide more, just my experience with all of this. I do struggle with depression and anxiety to an extent too, but mostly depression, and it's just mental illnesses. They run in our family, like struggles with mental health, and I am getting like more involved in the just like suicide prevention. There's a couple of things coming up, so I'll touch base on that more eventually when I'm more ready to talk about it, but I'm just not totally ready to get into all of that right now. So, and just to clarify, I don't feel like I have to talk about it. It's just I do want to, because suicide is just another one of those things that isn't really talked about, and it should be, because it happens way too much. So that being said, we'll end on a happy note. Let's see. Say thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe, or don't if you don't want to. That's okay too. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.